Hello and welcome to SharpHR Career Corner with Karen Sharp Price. This podcast will inform and inspire you in your quest to find the right career path. If you're just starting out, looking to make a change in your field, or transitioning into a new career, then this podcast is for you. We will be sharing tips and providing resources on topics such as writing resumes, interviewing, using LinkedIn, and networking. We will take a look at different careers, companies, and opportunities. You will hear success stories from professionals in all career paths, and so much more. You will leave this podcast with 3 key takeaways that you can easily put into practice. Enjoy!
Welcome to SharpHR Career Corner. I'm Karen Sharp Price. Thank you for listening to our podcast today. SharpHR Career Corner has been inviting local businesses on to learn more about their company. We want to focus in on different internship opportunities in our area for those just beginning to gain experience in their career field. Today, we have invited Jill from Cypress North to join us. Thank you for coming on and talking about your organization, Jill.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
So let's just jump in. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us, what do you do at Cypress North?
Sure. So I'm the Chief Growth Officer at Cypress North, and it's kind of a different position than a lot of people are used to, but I work across all of our teams. So we have a development team, a design team, and a marketing team, and we're starting up an analytics team as well. And my role, I'm really the only one that works across all of the teams to bring in new business. So I do a little bit of sales. I also work with some of our current clients to just make sure that they're happy. If there's anything else that we could be doing for them. So identifying where there's cross-sell opportunities maybe between the departments. And also some operational things. So I work with our people and try to focus on their professional growth goals and making sure that they're happy. Anything that we can be doing in the office to have good retention of our employees. Because as an agency, our only thing is our employees. So we don't make a product. Our product is made by our people, and it's an intellectual property. So it's really hard to do what we do without happy, good employees. So part of my job is prospecting and part of it is process.
Wow.
So that's really, I bring those two together.
Wow, that's amazing. So for those that might not have heard of Cypress North, what is it that you do and where are you located? How many employees? Things like that.
So Cypress North is a digital agency in Buffalo. We are located on Hurdle Avenue, and we have 22 employees right now. And our bread and butter is really anything digital. So we build websites, we promote websites, we drive people to buy things online for our clients. We design any kind of online tools, software, websites, ads. And our design team has been expanding beyond digital to do trade shows, trade show booths, printed materials. We do branding. So really we're a agency that does marketing, development, design, and like I said, we're building out our analytics team as well.
Yeah, so we were talking about the positions. What types of jobs do you have there?
So on the marketing team, all of our marketers do digital advertising. So they are really focused on Google ads, Microsoft ads, social advertising. We do social media content for some of our clients. We do a lot of marketing automation. So things like when you sign up on a website to get emails, and then you're entered into a workflow where if you click this email, you get a different one, or if you don't get it, you get a different something else the next time. So we work in a lot of that on the marketing side. And on the development side, our developers are really software engineers. So while we do a lot of websites, and that's what most people know us for, because everybody needs a website, we also develop really sophisticated software platforms that companies use either internally in their systems or, software that powers different operations on their websites.
Wow. So yeah. and you said that you control, or you're looking over a lot of those departments. So you're bringing clients in, you're looking for new clients, along with kind of maintaining the projects that are going along with the clients that you already have. So you're doing all of that?
Well, I am not, none of the departments report into me. I don't directly manage them. I just help where I can with all of the people
Wow.
and doing that. But also on the project management side, I do get involved sometimes, but we're actually hiring a project manager to work with me to work across some of those projects and take care of the details and work with the clients.
That's a lot. That's
So
a lot of organizing and keeping all of those balls in the air, so to speak.
um,
So, do you have internship programs for students, and what types of interns do you like to have come on board?
So we have a lot of interns on the marketing side. We are very performance driven in our approach for digital advertising. So anybody that we're doing digital marketing for, we're usually tracking it, tracking the results from whether we're driving leads, driving demo requests, driving sales online. So it's not just brand building for the most part, it's usually really driving someone's business.
Wow.
And what we've found is that a lot of people in our market haven't necessarily been trained to use those platforms in that way, and that a lot of the other companies around here do a lot of brand building online and traditional advertising, but not as much performance based digital marketing.
Yeah.
And so how we found success in our marketing team is bringing in people as interns or very entry level, training them the way that we do things and seeing if there's a good fit and then hiring them full time. So in the past year, we had two interns in the spring that we hired both of them in May when they graduated. We had two interns in the summer and we hired one of them when he graduated. The other was going back to school. She was only a junior, so she stayed in school. And then we just had an intern in the fall semester here and just hired her. She just accepted our offer last week, so we're really excited
Oh my
about that.
gosh.
But it's a pretty good training program for anybody that's interested in digital marketing. And it allows you to really get a taste of it, where colleges aren't necessarily teaching the ins and outs of that, because once you write your syllabus in the beginning of the year, 2 weeks into the semester, the Google Ads platform has changed.
Yeah,
So
really.
it's really changing constantly, and there's not a really good way to teach it at the college level because of how fast it changes. So
Right, right.
while they might get a taste of it in college, they don't really get that hands-on experience. Or even if they did, if you took it first semester your junior year and you took a digital marketing course, by the time you graduate, everything's different. The
Yeah.
platforms look different, trends are different. So this is a really good way to really get your hands into it and figure out if you're good at it, figure out if you like it, and you know, then we can have great people stay on board with us, and we're not
Yeah.
taking as much of a chance because we already know them from their
Sure.
internship.
Sure, that's great. So has the internships been remote, or are they in person these days?
So we've done them all in person this past year, because it is really hard to train remotely. And as you know, everyone's doing Zoom these days, just like we are right now.
Yeah.
But it is hard when you're not sure if somebody's understanding or what they're looking at. Even sharing screens, you can do so much of that. But it's really nice to be in person and be
Yeah.
able to say, hey, I'm about to do this on my screen. Why don't you come over here and look over my shoulder while I'm working through this problem? Or, show somebody as you're doing it on the fly. And when people are remote, you tend to have to, okay, I'm going to schedule this time with you in a day. And then you're kind of held up on doing that work till you can show
Sure.
them. So we've really insisted on our interns being in person.
Hmm.
But because our agency, we have a small number of employees and we have plenty of room to spread out, we've been keeping really safe with having them here as well. So
That's good.
even though it is in person, we've made sure that people are comfortable with it. We don't want to make anybody uncomfortable.
Right. Well, and I think that students really appreciate those internships that are in person,
Mhm.
because really these are mostly their first experiences with the real world. And so to do it remotely, it's just like college. and a lot of us had to go to remote for a while. But to be in an atmosphere where you get to see coworkers and just to see the flow and how things work and that teamwork and all of that, I think that you really do get so much more out of it when it's in person. So it's great that you've been able to keep it safe because of COVID. And I think that with COVID, I mean, it's just something that we all have to learn to deal with in a safe manner, because I don't think it's really totally going away anytime in the near future. So it's kind of, it's something we've had to deal with. So are these internships generally paid or unpaid?
We pay our interns.
Wow,
so we pay them
great.
and we ask them to work at least 20 hours a week so that they can be here on a regular basis. So most of our interns pick 2 or 3 days a week to come in, and they're here most of the day so that we can plan things around when they're going to be here, to have them included in certain meetings or things like that.
That's great. So you were talking about the analyst section that might be starting soon. Is that the area of the business that is analyzing what the marketing is doing?
So right now, yes.
Okay.
We actually have one of our digital marketing managers, Sarah, is brilliant at analytics and data. And she has been with us for 6 years now. And a couple of years ago said, I'm really interested in data, and went back to school at Buffalo State and got her data science master's. So now she has a master's in data science, and we, supported that and helped her get through school so that we could support this area of growth for not only the business, but for her as well. Yeah. And so her experience with data right now is more on the marketing side, bringing in marketing data, website visitor engagement data, things of that nature. Mm-hmm. But we're also expanding it to offer to our clients if they need any kind of business intelligence around operational data, pricing, forecasting, really anything that you have a lot of information and you need it drilled down in such a way that you can use it or gain insights from it. That is really what Sarah is amazing at. So we are starting that division with her and hope to continue to grow it with other data science.
Wow. Well, that seems like such an area that is growing just naturally with just the cybersecurity and just all of that. So I can only see that department is just going to probably just grow like crazy. So good luck with that.
Clients need it. They need it. There's so many companies that have reams and reams of data and they have no idea what to do with it. And so what we want to do is tell people, you have all this data that you're collecting. You don't even know where you're collecting it or what to do with it or how to make sense of it. And we can help you do that. So we can help you figure out how to store it, how to clean it, how to make it usable and create dashboards where you can pull certain insights on a regular basis or just analyze what you do have and find where there's anomalies or find where there's opportunities.
Yeah, and that makes so much sense. I mean, even when you take it to the marketing side of things, people put out all of these ads and all of these posts and they share them and all that stuff, but they don't really look at the analytics of it. Like, did that help? Did that work? Mm-hmm. Was that a topic that people really were attracted to? Or they just, because they're just in such the mode of just get as much as we can out there. But that data can tell you so much and can save you so much time in the future if you know what you're looking at, I guess.
Exactly. And there's definitely ways to set things up properly, especially on the marketing side, to understand what's happening there.
Right. Well, that sounds really interesting. So if someone was interested in more information about an internship with you, where would they apply, or what kind of where do they reach out to get some more information?
Sure. So they can go to our website. It's cypressnorth.com. And on the careers page, we always have an internship listing there. We don't necessarily have to go along with the semesters. We just
Oh,
as
okay.
people have time. So some people want to do an internship in the summer and work full time. Some people want to do it in between their classes. So we don't necessarily have, oh, all of our interns have to start on September 8th and they finish December 1st. We
Okay.
just have kind of an ongoing basis. So
Yeah.
our internship posting is there and you can apply right on our website.
Okay.
Or if they have questions about whether they might be a good fit for an internship, they can email me at jfetcher@cypressnorth.com.
Okay,
So
great. And I'll put that information in the description for the podcast so that people can also
great.
find it as well. So, if I was a candidate and I was being interviewed by you, and I started to ask you some questions, how would you answer these? What is the best part about working at Cypress North?
Okay, so this sounds really corny and everybody says this, but you don't really realize it till you're here. But it's the people. It is 100% hands down the people. I came here after 16 years of experience elsewhere,
Uh,
and the moment I walked in the door, everyone made me feel like I had been here for years.
wow.
And it's just very welcoming. We have a pretty tight-knit crew of people, and everyone really cares about each other and what we're working on. And everyone works really hard to do what's best for our clients, what is the best work product that we can provide. But then they're also, everyone's very generally interested in each other, and we share our successes not only at work, but with other things. We celebrate, we have a wedding coming up and we
Oh,
celebrated in May. We had a graduation party for our interns that graduated, and Sarah, who graduated from her master's program. So we just have a lot of fun together. And I think that the people are really what make a place like this
that's nice.
amazing.
So, what is the culture like? If I were to walk around there, what would I see? How would I, interpret the culture?
Yeah, so it's interesting because if you walked in, it seems really quiet sometimes because everyone has their headphones on and they're working away. But we have kind of a Slack culture of we use Slack for communication, and everyone's
Okay.
always sending funny things, and it'll be real quiet and then you'll hear laughter just like erupt around the floor of everyone seeing the joke at the same time. But we have in the front, we have what we call our collaboration space, where we have a big U-shaped couch and a TV where sometimes we'll play like Jack in the Box games. We have a dartboard up there. We actually got a ping pong table delivered this morning,
Oh,
which
wow.
I know sounds very frat startup culture, and
Yeah.
it's not like that at all. But it's just fun. Like we have a lot of people that just like to kind of be together and collaborate.
Oh, that sounds like
One
fun.
Yeah. And one of the other things that I always tell people when they ask me about the culture when they're interviewing for an internship is that I've never been somewhere where it is so collaborative, not only just collaborating on a project or an idea, because that's normal in an
Hmm.
agency, but we have such an atmosphere of learning and growing and curiosity. And everyone is always passing things along, whether it's in our Monday morning marketing meeting, where every Monday the marketing team, we do it over Zoom now because a lot of times people are working from home, or even if they're in the office. So it's nice we still can all see each other.
Uh-huh.
And we go around and everyone says one thing they learned from the week before. And
Oh,
it could be
wow.
something really simple, like I learned this trick in Gmail that is easier to filter things. Or it could be something like I learned about this big product update on Google Ads that's happening and everyone needs to know about it. So on Monday mornings, we share one thing, but throughout the week, there's always um, emails and Slack messages going back and forth like, hey, guess what? I just tried this with my client. It worked really well. I wanted to share it with you all. The developers do the same thing on their side that I see in the development Slack channel, them sending over things all the time of new technologies they heard of or new ways to do things. And I think that while ideally everyone wants to be that way in an agency setting, in
Hmm.
practice it doesn't really happen as much because everyone's busy.
Yeah.
And so it is nice that we have this culture of sharing and helping each other learn
Yeah.
and you
That's
know,
really nice.
helping with other clients where I think a lot of times when you have a client-based business, people are only concerned about their own clients or their own projects.
Mhm.
And ever since I've been here, I've never heard anybody hesitate to help somebody else if they're working on something that is um, something that they're not as familiar with. And they say, oh, I don't know this about HubSpot. Andy, can you help me with HubSpot? And he's like, oh, sure. Drops everything to go and walk you through it, help with your client. There's
Wow.
never a, oh, I'm busy with my own clients. I can't help on that. Everyone's really, really helpful and collaborative. And I think that that is special.
Yeah, that is. That is. And I think that's really important for businesses going forward. That culture is probably one of the first things that any candidate is looking for and it is looking at and wants to hear more about. Because that's the kind of culture that most people want to be in, and so that's great that you have it, and it's not just something that you say you have, but by incorporating those questions in your Monday morning meetings, it sort of instills it. It's part of their thought process on a daily basis so that they know what they're going to say for the next week. And so it just becomes automatic almost at a certain point. So
Yeah.
that's really great. So tell me something, is Slack fairly new? Because I just came across it in the last like month and I'm starting to use it for my own business. But I had never heard of it, and someone suggested it, and so I tried it. I downloaded it, and I'm like, okay, I'll see if this works. But is it fairly new, or has it been around a long time, and I'm just late to the
Um,
table?
it's been around quite a while. I don't know
Yeah,
how long, but I would say at least 5 years that
really.
I've been using it. Yeah. And it's interesting. We have a lot of clients who use Slack on their side, and you can invite them into your Slack space so that we
Oh,
have different channels where you can communicate with the client, or, you know, we have internal channels where they can only
oh,
see the
okay.
one that they're invited to, but it's really nice for easy, quick communication. It kind of keeps
The
so
flow
many emails out
going.
of your inbox.
Yeah, yeah, because you take care of it right away. Wow. So,
Mhm.
what do you see, like the future of the company in the next 5 years? Where do you see it going?
So we are, like I said, we're focusing on growing our analytics team for sure. That is a
Mm,
huge trend and a huge opportunity across the board in a lot of businesses to use their data to grow their business.
sure.
And I see our marketing team is really growing quite a bit because people need that performance-based marketing. When the pandemic first happened and we went to work from home, that first month was a little nerve-wracking because of course clients are like, oh, we don't know what's going to happen. So they all paused their marketing budgets.
Oh,
But then a lot of our clients went, you know, doubled down on their digital marketing because they realized that's where I can track what you're actually selling. I can track the impact it's having on my business. I'm not going to do, I'm going to cut my budget for TV because I can't really see if that's making an impact and really do the digital
gotcha.
performance-based marketing. And so while that has continued to grow, I think that that will be much, much more important for people moving forward because they can see what's really working and
Right,
where the business is going.
right.
And then our design team is a little bit, I don't want to say younger as in the people are younger. I just mean our design team is our newer department
Mm,
where Cypress North started 11 years ago as development and marketing and then added in design a couple of years ago. And so we're really growing that department as well and
hmm.
expanding the different channels that we work in.
Wow, that sounds great. I mean, it sounds like you're going in a couple different directions. So the growth will be
Yeah.
even bigger. So I at the end of every episode, I ask my guests to give three pieces of advice. And I was wondering if you could possibly give some advice to those college marketing students right now that are trying to get their first job out of college. And for anybody out there, we all were in the same shoes. We all had to graduate college and then try to get that very first job. And it's a little scary because you've been going to school for how many years and you know, things have kind of been laid out for you a little bit along the way. But then all of a sudden you cross that finish line And every decision you make from that point on is really your own decision. You have the power to decide where and what you want to do and how you want to do it and things like that. And so all of a sudden, it hits most college students at some point in their senior year, maybe sometimes a little bit after they actually graduate, but it hits them at some point like, oh my gosh. So what kind of advice would you give a college student in marketing specifically? And how do they get that first job out of college?
Sure. Well, I always tell people to network. I'm a big networker. I love talking to people. I love meeting new people. And I know that's not as easy for everybody, but I always tell people use your resources. So a lot of times when people graduate, and I remember feeling this way a little bit, my first job I got because my aunt owned an agency and she gave me an internship there. And so I took the internship, but then I got hired back by the person I reported to start after graduation, which was amazing.
Yeah.
And it really, started me on my journey. But I think a lot of people are hesitant, like I'm going to do this myself. I'm not letting my dad get me this job, or, they have this kind of, you have this feeling because you're proud of yourself after you did all this work for 4 years, you graduated. Right. And there's no shame in that game. You need to network with everyone you know. And I think creating that LinkedIn profile during your college years, linking into your parents' friends, your professors, anybody else you've met along the way, your friends' parents, your aunts and uncles, whoever you got in your network, because those are going to be the people that understand what you're looking for and might recommend you to somebody. So be aware of who you know that could help you make that introduction. Because if somebody that I know well says to me, oh, I met this person and they're looking for an internship and I just thought they were really great, but I don't have an opportunity for that, I will 100% of the time interview that person. They may not always get the internship if it's not the right fit, whatever, but if someone else recommends them to me that I know and trust, I'm going to at least give them a half an hour of my time. So always do that. Always be networking and seeing who you know and talking to them about your goals. The second thing I would say is to have those goals. So I've been on a lot of interviews with college students or new grads, and when I ask them what are their goals, what are they trying to do with their life, where do they see themselves in 5 years, a lot of people don't have an answer to that question.
Yep.
And I'm here to say, I'm not going to hold you to it. So if you tell me in 5 years, you want to be writing ad copy for a Super Bowl ad, that's a great goal to have in 5 years if you're a writer. But I'm not going to come at you in 5 years and be like, did you do that? Is that still your goal? You can change your goal in 3 months. You can change your goal tomorrow if you want. But I think that that's something that a lot of people ask and a lot of college students do not have an answer for. Most of them say, I don't really know. We'll see where it takes me. So have that kind of elevator pitch about what you're looking for and what you bring to the table in your back pocket for an interview.
Totally agree with that.
And then I had a third one, and now I'm like drawing a blank.
So networking, and I'll say that networking, that's the one thing that, at least for my students at Damon, they have to create a LinkedIn profile, and trying to network. And, at first I'll tell them whatever number of contacts you have, say they have 5 or 10, add 25. Like that's my goal is whatever number you have, add another 25. And then, their eyes get really big, like, how am I supposed to do that? And I say simply, everyone in your class right now is going to be out there getting a job and working somewhere. And so that's a network. That's a group of network. And then your professors, and then your parents, and then your parents' friends, and then your neighbors. So by the time you go through that list, you have 25 people. But it is so important. And honestly, because most jobs are not posted right now, I think they say like 80% of jobs are not posted. It's your network that's going to help you find those jobs. So you need that network. It really is super important. So that is something that I think we both agree on, that is ultimately almost their number one thing that they have to do. And sometimes, students that don't have experience, they don't have that self-confidence yet. So they're not quite sure what they know or what they don't know. And so getting out there and networking with people seems a little intimidating. But again, one of the things that we do is we set up networking events for our students every semester so that they can get all those kinks out of them, out of their, processes, because that elevator pitch, the first time they give it, is so overwhelming. They just don't know if they can say it, or they fumble, and that's great because the people that are there understand that, and it's okay to fumble while you're in college. It's when you get out in the real world that you don't want to fumble. You want to know what you're doing. So absolutely. And then having those goals, those miniature goals is what motivates you and what keeps you on track. And your track moves, that's okay, but it gets you motivated instead of waiting for something to happen, and you'll take that road maybe if you want to. That's not the best way to do that thing. So we absolutely agree. So have you thought about number 3 yet?
So number 3, I did think about what I was going to say for that. So number 3 is really to look for any kind of resources to help you learn. College is not the only place to get an education. It's a great foundation. You're learning a lot there. But there are so many free resources out, free and inexpensive resources, I should say. So things like if you're interested in digital marketing, I always send people that apply for internships. I have people that apply for internships that are going to school for something completely unrelated to marketing, and they've never taken a marketing course in their life, but now they've decided as a senior they'd like to go into marketing. So I always send them things like HubSpot has excellent free training resources where you can learn about inbound marketing, where you can become certified in email marketing and in different avenues there. Google has a ton of free resources for their ads platform, Facebook as well. There's a lot of free resources out there with all of these different tools that you can learn. You can get certified pretty quickly and easily online for free, and you can add that to your resume. So, you've used it. And also free resources like Toastmasters. If you are someone that's nervous about speaking in person, even after 4 years of college and probably having to give a lot of presentations, Toastmasters is a great free resource. There's meetings everywhere. There's groups everywhere. If you look online, that you can practice speaking in front of people who don't matter to your career. It's also a good place to network if there are people that matter to your career in a Toastmasters group, but they'll give you feedback just on your speaking style and how you come across presenting something, in these groups with no judgment.
That's a great idea because, I think that some students might think that once they do graduate that, that's over with. They don't have to do that. But professional development just begins. And like you said in the very beginning of the episode, digital is changing so fast that whatever you've learned is going to be changing within the next 3 to 6 months that you start your job. So you have to keep that professional development up, and you have to take charge of your own professional development too. You can't rely on your companies to kind of direct you. They can show you and give you resources and things like that, but you kind of have to, at that point, you have to kind of take charge of your own path that you want to take for your professional development. So those are all excellent suggestions. So,
and when it comes to also free experience, sometimes it's hard to get that first internship when you don't have any other internships on your resume, or you just started college, you're not sure what you want to go into, or maybe you're studying something different than what you'd actually like to go into. And I always tell people in marketing, there are small businesses everywhere. You walk around Buffalo, you walk down Elmwood, there's hundreds of small businesses. And if you go and get that HubSpot certification, or if you're a designer and you want to design things for your portfolio that are real life things, go to any of those small businesses, or one that a restaurant, a cafe, any kind of small business, and say, hey, can I design a menu for you? Or, hey, can I put together a marketing plan for you? And while that might not be a real internship, or offer to be an intern for them, but that's a great way to build your portfolio, build your arsenal of things, real life things that you've worked on. And it's a really great way for a small business owner to either pay nothing for it or pay very little for it. And you get that experience. It's a win-win, and it's a great way for people to kind of understand what you can do, and for you to get that experience to know if you actually like doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Buffalo does have just a ton of different small businesses. They're all over the place. So, in fact, I belong to a group called Grow. And it started during the pandemic, and it was online, and it has grown just huge numbers of, a lot of service small businesses that are out there, and we kind of come together as a group. And so there's tons of opportunities for just learning the different types of marketing and what you might be interested in as well, so that you can kind of gear more towards one way or the other. So I have one extra question that I have to ask you. Since this is Thanksgiving week, what is your favorite Thanksgiving side dish? This is an important question.
So when people ask me what my favorite food is, I say Thanksgiving dinner. So it's really hard to pick my favorite, but I would have to say the stuffing. The stuffing is my favorite. My aunt always makes homemade stuffing, like in the turkey.
Yeah.
And I just think it's the best thing. I always eat so much of it, and then I feel like I literally ate a loaf of bread. And it's
but it's
so
only
good,
one
though.
Time a year, so it's okay.
With gravy on it. Well, I convince my mom at least 1 or 2 other times a year to make a Thanksgiving dinner. Like she'll say, "Oh, for your birthday, do you guys want to come over and we'll have family dinner?" And she's like, "I have a turkey." And I'm like, "Okay." So at least once or twice a year, my mom will make a Thanksgiving, a smaller scale Thanksgiving dinner.
That's great.
So,
well, happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Yeah, you
as well.
too.
And
thank you so much
for being on today. It was really, I loved it. And I had never heard of Cypress North before. So I'm glad that we connected on LinkedIn. And I'm sure that, we're going to be working in the future through Damon College with interns, and so I'm sure I'm going to throw some your way in the very near future. But thank you again for your time.
Well, thank you for having me. I had a lot of fun.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for listening to SharpHR Career Corner. If you're a college student trying to figure out what you want to do in a career and need some guidance, please contact Sharp Human Resources. We would love to help you out. Go to sharphumanresources-buffalo.com for more information. If you enjoy listening to the podcast, I encourage you to download the podcast, leave a comment, and share with others you know. The more downloads and comments and likes our podcast receives, the better our ratings and the easier we can be found. So thank you in advance. Until next time, be kind, everyone. We need to show a lot more kindness in the world, and it starts with you and I. Thanks again for listening, and have a great day. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.